What's up guys, Qehzy here bringing you guys another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create these 3D layered render effects. And I apologize if there's any background noise. I'm watching my brother's dog today. I've had to the past couple days, but he's pretty calm right now, chewing on a bone, so I thought I could record this. But if there's any interruptions, that's most likely the reason. So this is sort of what we're going to be creating. Of course, you can add a bunch of variations to this. This is just a general concept, and I went with a kind of spinny motion here too as well. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all this. Actually, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to delete everything. And actually, no, I'll delete that as well. And first thing we're going to do is bring in our logo. So I'm going to be using the Air logo since I'm a part of that team right now. So I went by it. I think it's this guy. There it is. And we're just going to set it up like any normal 3D render. So let's center it. And then let's get the extrude NURBS. Now you could do each path individually and add different depths to them, which is something you can do when you have multiple paths like this logo here. But I'm going to put them all in one. And you can see it won't show up right away, but if you check mark hierarchical, I don't know if I can even say that, but this guy right here. So let's minimize everything and let's set this up. So we'll go 30 depth here, and caps, fillet cap on both, 1 radius for each. And that's kind of what we're going to start out with. I'm going to get out of the camera mode and stick with a like side-ish view here. And let's duplicate this guy. And the way I do it is I have thicker ones in the back and it gets thinner as you go up or towards the front, I guess. So we started with a 30 depth, if you recall. So with this duplicated one, we're going to move it forward just a bit. And we're going to knock that down to 20. And you can reposition it if you like. And then let's do that again. Maybe even a further space between them. Let's do 10. And one last time. But this time we're going to go 1. Very thin layer. And actually, maybe I'll bring those... Actually, no, that's a pretty good distance. I like that distance. But let's start with the back one again. And one thing that I do like to do is duplicate this center one, or what will be the center one, and go to atom array and put that in an atom array. Put the sphere radius on 1, cylinder radius will automatically go to 1, and then just move that guy out forward ahead of the one in front of it, like so. So you can see it's just the back part filled in with the front as an atom array, as if these two were once a part of that. That's kind of the effect it gives. But then I'm going to move that down to where it would be in line, because I want to keep these in order. So you can see this is the back, this is the next one, and then this is next. And you want to keep it in that order. So let's duplicate this guy again, and let's bring him to the bottom, because we're going backwards now. And we're actually going to go back pretty far, and maybe go 40. See how that looks? We could probably go a little thicker. Let's go 55. That's pretty good. Sorry, just checking on the dog. And let's duplicate that guy. Bring it down. Put him in the order here because he's going slightly ahead of that one we just created. But this time it's going to be 40. There we go. So that looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna stick with that. Actually, I might make this guy 55 and the bottom one 40, just so it's slightly diverse and not it's not like in order of thickness, although it essentially is. But that one kind of mixes it up a little bit. So that works. Now we want to add some bolts, and you can add so many things to this to be different, because I've seen this done multiple times, and you can add so many little details that'll just make this look so nice. I don't do this effect very often, but I've gotten requests to show it off, so that's why this is going to be a fairly simple tutorial. But the main thing that most people like to add are bolts, so it looks like it was once bolted together and then came apart. And bolts are pretty easy to create. You can make them multiple ways. This is just how I do it. So I get the cylinder from the objects, thin it out a little bit, hit C on the keyboard. Let's get a top view, go to the selection tool and get the polygons selection and hit V on the keyboard, loop selection, click on the top and it will highlight all that. Right click, extrude inner, but we want to go outwards a bit, like that. And then right click, bevel, and bevel in, and you can either go with that and stick with that, or you could go one more time and get the move tool and bring that down just a bit. So there you go, that's like a simple bolt. You're gonna do different variations of them. You could do a full screw if you'd want. I don't tend to do it. Actually, I don't know if this is even technically a bolt. It might be more of, I guess it's like a nail without a tip, but you guys know what I mean. Now let's get the normal selection and let's rotate this guy 90 degrees. And let's make him a little smaller. Maybe right there. Bring him over. And let's bring him out so he's very front. And now let's change our view to the front view right here, and we can line these bolts up wherever we want. So I go the corners usually, so right here, duplicate, down here, duplicate, one in the center somewhere, so I'll go right on the R, duplicate, bottom right, and top right. And then we'll do one more in the middle. So maybe like right here. Okay, now let's go back to our normal view. And there you go, you got your bolts. You could keep them somewhere there. I actually like that, that's a pretty good spot. Or you can select them. And actually I'm going to select them all, right click and group so they're all together. I like to or the way I did it was have them out, sticking out, and then add different depths to them. So maybe this guy was a little closer, or this guy was further out, or something like that. Let me just go back, but I'm gonna do one more thing before that, and that's duplicate all the bolts, right click, select children, right click, connect objects, and delete. And then let's move them back so the thinner part is intersecting the front logo, so this thin arrow logo. And then let's go ahead and get the bool tool, so that's right here. And let's add that top extrude layer and the bolts, and let me flip these around. And if we do that, you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it, actually right there you can see it, there's holes now in the logo, so it kind of acts like that's where their placement is, if you know what I mean. And that just adds a little something. That's an optional effect, you don't really have to do that, but I think I liked it personally. But now is when you can adjust adjust where these bolts are. So this one could be in, this one could be closer, maybe this one's a little closer, maybe it's in, that guy's a little closer, and maybe this guy's close to being in, something like that, just to mix it up. Looks pretty good. Also, you could do something where, let's say, let's get one of these here. Maybe, actually, let's do the second one. Let's say we wanted to add some cool one here. So let's right click, select children, C, right click, select children, right click, connect objects, and delete. And actually, I screwed that up because it's not a normal, it's a, do select children a couple times, connect objects, and shoot! C on the keyboard, right click, select children, right click, select children, right click, connect objects, and delete. Why is this not working? Alright, let's redo this. Right click, select children, right click, select children, C on the keyboard, right click, select children, right click, select children, C on the keyboard, right click, select children, right click, select children, right click, connect objects, and delete. There we go. So I did select children twice each time just to make sure I selected everything that was in that group. I think that it did work. So I don't know what I did the first couple times. But let's get the selection tool and the polygons. Let's click all the front facing bits and let's right click extrude inner. We'll go in, right click extrude and go inwards. Right click extrude inner, go in, right click extrude and go inwards. So something like that. So you get like a beveled effect there, which kind of looks like it'll fit in pretty cool. I don't know if you know what I mean, but yeah, that's just another effect you can do. And obviously you could add each thing could have its own effect. So maybe this one has a bunch of wires going through it and stuff. This one has the bolts, and this one has the atom array, and like everything can have its own thing, if you know what I mean. And you could do it like that. That would look pretty cool. Obviously, again, I'm just showing you positioning and kind of the very simple, like very simplistic version of this. But now the sort of the last thing we need to do before adding materials is get the orientation and stuff. So what I did was I selected the furthest back part of the logo or this effect, and I rotated it holding shift, went 30 degrees. The next one 20 degrees, next one 10, this one stays the same, this one I guess that will stay the same as 2 since it's on they're together essentially. Next one 10, and then these last guys rotate 20, and then I took the bottommost, duplicated it, put it at the bottom again, and rotated it 50-ish, somewhere around there, moved it back and down and to the right, and you'll see why in just a little bit. But now let's go back to our camera view. So you get something like this right away, which is pretty cool on its own. But then if we select everything, we can rotate 90 degrees ish, rotate a little bit this way, and then let's actually set it up. So we'll do something like this, and then move it up, and we could do a little more like that. This looks pretty cool. That's not bad. That's a pretty good looking render. And now you might be wondering, why is this guy here? And that's kind of a personal preference thing. See, if this is not here, let me just completely delete it. If this isn't here, this render alone just looks like uneven for me, unbalanced. This side seems so much heavier, and this side there's like practically nothing, and that just bothers me. And it could just be the way this logo is. Like, that might not happen all the time if it's like a circular logo. But I just added this bit in because you kind of don't really pay attention to it in the actual banner then. And it just kind of evens things out. It just makes it look overall better. But yeah, that's just like a personal preference thing. One thing that I did experiment with doing was adding more of these atom arrays then. So if I duplicate this guy, and let's go in and let's make the path itself bigger. Just doing one of these, maybe moving it down, let me get out of the camera view, maybe moving it back, and just kind of have it lay somewhere random. I thought that would be pretty cool. So that you could do that probably multiple places. That might be a cool effect. But the main part here is the materials then. This is really key. So 3 of these materials, these 3 right here, are all in my newest pack, my materials V5, which you can buy in my store. It's only a couple bucks, it's not that much. Or you could just find other free substitutes and use that. And there's plenty of materials out there. If you don't want to spend the money, that's fine, I understand. But then these 2 materials I just created just for this, so I can link you that. Hey, Alex. And I'll put the download to these 2 in the description. Maybe I'll find some fillers to put in, but I don't know, because this is just what I work with all the time, so it's what I know. I just didn't have like a darker gray and a gold that I liked, but I just used this brass. But this one's going to be the main one anyway, so this will be a free download, and you can use that one. That's going to be the top one. And then I'm going to use silver for the bolts here. That might change, actually, it depends. And then I use silver for the atom arrays. Oops, I didn't command drag. Alright, there we go. And then this one can be that second from the bottom. And that's actually cubic seamless, that guy. And then this one will be the third. And then again, cubic seamless, that guy. and then we kind of spread it out. So maybe take this one here, take that guy there, and actually let's add the brass one here. And I actually kind of want the brass one right behind, so we'll do that, and then the brass here, and then the normal one here. That should look alright. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to make all these the same with the cubic seamless. I think that looks best most cases. So let me just select all these. Cubic, seamless. Alright, and that's basically this whole effect. Of course, you can add more stuff. You can keep going from here. But this is the general setup and look, and it's real simple, guys. Like, that wasn't really anything complex. You don't need Cinema 4D skills. The main bit is the Lightroom, which, oh, by the way, this is my personal Lightroom, which is also in my store. If you'd want to use it, you can buy it. Obviously, the materials in my store. But again, like, the materials aren't anything crazy. Lightroom's nothing special. It's just what I personally use. And yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoy. If you did, please drop a like. At 100 likes, I'll put this in the description for download so you can use it yourself. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Qehzy. Add my Snapchat, which is Qehzy, for any updates and things like that. Subscribe for more videos, guys. And once this finishes, I'll see you guys later.